Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for Monday, July 29th. The meeting is being recorded by vote of the town meeting. Boards are required to record their meetings and provide recordings to Whitman Community Access TV so they can put it on their website. All right, our first hearing is case number 13. This is location of property, 199 South Avenue, type of district, general business zone, type of structure, existing dwelling, proposed mixed-use building. Owner's name, John L. Carabello Trust, applicant Calvin Kuhl. Owner's address, 199 South Ave, Whitman. The applicant's address, 41 C Street, Weymouth. When did you acquire this property? The applicant has a purchase and sale agreement. Has application been filed with town clerk? Yes. Has any previous appeal been made? No. Section of bylaw of which relief is requested, section 240-5.4J42 and site plan 247.2. Reason for asking relief, applicant wishes to remove the existing dwelling and construct a mixed-use building containing 9 residential units and 3 retail business units. The property lies within the mixed-use overlay district. The proposed use is allowed within the district. This case was advertised in the Whitman Hanson Express. Let me get the dates here. I have it here. On July 11th and July 18th. Sitting on the case will be Mr. Andrews, Mr. Curran, Mr. Kimball, Mr. Blas, and myself, John Goldrosen. Mr. Keeman's not sitting on the case, but he'll participate in the discussion. At this time, we ask that everybody who's here for this case, would you please raise your right hand and take an oath since you'll be participating. Do you solemnly swear the you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, thank you. Mr. Blas, would you read the list of abutters, please?
The following is an abutters list using the requirements of the State Zoning Act. Parties in interest for the property located at 199 South Avenue, Whitman, Mass. Book 57531, page 160. Agnes Realty Trust, James F. Canavan, trustee. Paul F. Dunbar. Linden Property Trust, James Canavan, trustee. Jean Finello. Trillium Fuel Real Estate, LLC. 183 to 191 South Ave Realty Trust, High Pond Fund, trustee. Amy Chan, trustee. John N. Walsh, Miranda Barros, Orlando Barros, Jason and Jamie Edgerly, Erica and Nixon Rodriguez, 14 Stetson, LLC.
Thank you. Okay, for the benefit of everybody here, the procedure we follow is first we let the applicant make their full presentation. I'll then read into the record letters that we have from town boards. We'll then have questions, comments from members of the zoning board, and we'll then go out to the public for your questions and comments on this proposal. So who's representing the applicant? Who's going to speak? Mr. Garvey?
Thank you. Just a correction on that form. The property has been sold since I filled out the application.
Okay.
And it's been sold to the applicant under 199 South Ave, LLC. So the owner that was at that time has sold the property to the applicant.
Okay, so you got it's 199 South Ave, LLC. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Basically, Kyle Garvey representing Calvin, who is here tonight, who is the trustee of 199 South Ave, LLC, along with other family members or trustees also. Property lies on the southwesterly side of the intersection of South Ave and Linden Street. It contains an older home built around 1,900 and a two-car garage. The property contains 13,979 square feet, lies within the general business zone with a small portion of the lot within the Residence A2 district on the southerly property line. The property is bordered on the north by South Ave, on the east by Linden Street, with several multi-family units on that side of Linden Street. To the rear is a single-family home owned by Paul Dunbar, and then to the west is a property that contains a former Chinese restaurant, an existing variety store, and a glass company within the block building. Also has an office within that building that abuts it. The proposal calls for a 3-story building that will contain 9 apartments, 7 one-bedroom apartments, and 2 two-bedroom units. The building itself is roughly 82 feet at its longest point by 47 feet wide. The setback along South Ave at its closest points is roughly around 5 feet to both street lines. The front corner of this particular building here has been configured close to somewhat of a turret on it, as the existing structure did, so we kind of, myself and the architect, we discussed that and thought we'd try to keep something similar there. The parking will be behind the building. The parking contains 15 parking spaces, one of which will be a handicap spot. There's also a dumpster, enclosed dumpster in the parking lot itself. There is a lighting post in that area that will just light up a small portion of the parking area, with other lighting underneath the walkways, recessed lighting under the walkways within the building. We left areas around the parking for some landscaping, lower bushes in the back, and just some greenery around the building that will allow for some snow storage, as well as a breakup of the pavement. The sidewalk on Linden Street has been extended roughly 25 feet. Concrete sidewalk that runs in front of the building ends at the curb. We're extending it 25 feet. There's an entranceway that goes into the retail unit at that particular spot. So we've extended that. Utilities will be connected. The sewer and water will be connected to the existing lines within Linden Street. The town left a stub for the house that was never really connected, so we're going to be connecting that to the building. The fire and water for the building will also be 2 connections off of Linden Street with gas, more than likely coming in off of South Ave. The roof actually contains a flat area. These are somewhat facials on the front of the building. If you look in the set of plans, there's a flat area. That, along with the sloping, will be connecting drains within the roof that will discharge into a infiltration system in the parking lot. The parking lot itself will drain from elevation 97 to a catch basin that will also discharge into an infiltration area separate from the other one. In conclusion, the proposed use is allowed by the bylaw. We did, as you'll notice in the plans, request a variance to have the handicap unit be allowed on the first floor, as there is no elevator in the building. We did limit the building to a 3-story. I kind of suggested that a 4-story building might be too much. However, the heights in this area, this building is actually about the same height as the present house that's on the site, if you measure to the top of the existing turret, and about the same height as all three of these buildings are anywhere from 34 to 37 feet in height. Steve Noonan, the architect, is here to explain the floor plans and the buildings themselves.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Noonan.
Steve Massey, architect. Called a really good job describing a lot of plans. So what we have here, yeah, I'll sure it's over here. So really, like I was on the ground floor, we're proposing to have 3 commercial spaces, and those all run right along the street side, so we get a nice street front facade on two sides. On the back side, we decided to put an accessible unit there, figuring it was a good place to use up some space, and not for commercial, but for residential, we get a ground floor accessible unit. We're accessing egress through a single egress stair, based on our allowance per code for 4 units or less per floor. We do have a colonnade that you do see in the 3D rendering. That we're using it to really kind of create a shadow line on the base of the building and kind of break up the verticality of the building itself. On the upper floors, we've got 3 one-bedroom units and a single 2-bedroom unit. It's basically the same on each floor. So we've got a repetitive floor plate, all with a centralized egress hall accessing the egress stair which ends up to the egressing through the rear of the site. But like Carl said, we've got a 3-story building. It's under the 45-foot mark, and that's really it in a nutshell.
Describe the mechanicals for like what would be on the roof. Is there anything on the roof, or what's?
There'll be, I'm assuming there'll be mechanical units on the roof. I'm not sure exactly which, specifics of it, but I know Jamie, who's the designer in the office on the building, I'm sure he was using that flat roof for that purpose.
Okay. And where is the flat roof? Is that at the rear of the building then? Just trying to get an idea of how that might impact any neighbors. Well, I see it's really the center of the building, the roof.
Let's get to my roof right here. Yeah, you really won't see it per se. You're going to have sloped roofs on both sides, all sides.
The center will be below the
right.
Okay. All right.
So we also, as part of the roof area, we've allowed for a solar-ready area as well. So we've got 2 mechanical spots.
Okay.
And solar-ready area.
And will there be any basement, or is this built on a slab? Okay. Okay. Anything else you want to present before we proceed?
No.
Okay. We'll see what questions people have. All right, let me read into the record letters from town boards, from Whitman Fire Rescue and Emergency Services. At this time, Whitman Fire Rescue and Emergency Services has no objection to this proposal for the construction of a mixed-use building, provided all applicable fire and building codes are met. Sincerely, Timothy Clancy, Chief. From the Board of Health, the Whitman Board of Health gives conditional approval to the petition of Calvin Poole for the property owned by John Carabello Trust for approval under the provisions of the Multiple Use Overlay District, Section 245.4J, and site plan approval under Section 247.2. As the applicant wishes to remove the existing residential building and construct a mixed-use building containing 9 residential units and 3 retail business units on the property located at 199 South Ave. Town of Whitman Water Sewer Master File indicates the current home is connected to town water only. To receive final approval, the owner must connect any new dwellings to both municipal water and sewer. Sincerely, Daniel Kelly, Health Agent. And from the Planning Board, at the July 9th, 2024 meeting, the board reviewed the plan for 199 South Ave. The Planning Board recommends approval of the requested waivers by a 5-0-0 vote. Adam Somerville, Chairman. Okay, questions from members of the board? Mr. Keeman, anything?
The electricals, they're going to be underground? Electrical service underground or above ground?
It'll be underground.
That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Andrews?
There's going to be a residential area on the first floor.
That's what we're proposing, yes.
Is that going to be a handicap?
Yeah, an accessible unit. Figure we're not going to have an elevator, so we'd like to allow for at least one accessible unit.
And the second and third floor.
What's that?
The second and third floor.
Those will just be standard units.
How many units is on each floor?
Four per floor on the second and third. Yeah, so there's 3 one-bedroom and 1 2-bedroom on each floor.
The same on the second. Okay. And there's no elevator.
No elevator.
So how do you get up and down besides stairs?
It's just
One pair of stairs?
one set of stairs, which is
you don't have to have 2 sets of stairs?
not on this. If we have 4 units or less per floor, we can, and less than 4 floors, we can have a single means of egress.
Let me just, I'd meant to, when I read the letters from the town boards, I'd meant to ask the building inspector, since he's here, for any input and comments or questions on this.
Yeah, so based on the single set of stairs, my only question is, and again, I wasn't here, did you have a meeting on this?
No, this is our first hearing.
So I think a little clarity needs to be made. If we're going to be based on the building code for the single egress, do we need to change the language a little bit for a variance? The way I'm looking at it is 245-4J-4C, 2 and 4 for a variance. Is that what you have?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so you're asking for a variance from the 2 means of egress within zoning also.
Correct.
So you're just having one set of stairs, is that correct?
Yes.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Is this a fully sprinkled building?
It's going to be, as far as I know, yes.
I've shown a connection, sprinkler connection.
Yeah, we do have a mechanical / sprinkler one shown on the plan.
Distance from.
Right, so just to review this for the board, so the mixed-use, multiple-use overlay district provision in Section 4 allows business uses and allows residential uses. And under subsection 4C, residential units may be located on the upper floors of commercial buildings as part of a mixed-use development without limitation as to percentage of total gross floor area, provided that 1, the buildings are connected to the public sewer system, 2, no units are located on street level or within a basement, so they would need a variance from that. 3, there shall be no more than 2 bedrooms per unit. And 4, all units must have 2 means of egress separate from the commercial use. No access to or egress from any unit shall be through a commercial establishment, so they would need a variance from that. And 5, all units must meet the requirements of the building and health codes for habitable space. Okay, continue, Mr. Andrews.
That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Curran?
Yeah, thank you, John. Mr. Garvey, can you tell us the size of the existing house, the footprint? To you?
Yes. The building there, the garage in the back.
Do you know the square footage of that?
Offhand, no.
Yeah, I know it's pretty big. No,
It's
that's okay.
really big, yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Right, so I was looking at the bylaw regarding 4B, and it says you can't have more than 50% of whatever the gross floor area on the first floor, the commercial, unless you meet these other provisions.
Right.
So we just do a variance for,
They would have to have a variance in sections C2 and C4 in order to not be subject to B.
my feeling is that if all the units on the upper floors were one bedroom, I'd be a lot happier with that, but I would encourage the first floor handicap unit because that's kind of dead space. I don't think he's going to get a commercial use that's going to use that much floor space to begin with. So I guess that's all I had. So we need to, but it also gives us the right just to grant special permits for almost anything on this.
Well, it's a mixed-use development. If it met all the requirements, it'd be as of right.
But it says residential use as part of mixed-use development, but not as standalone, except by special permit.
I read that to mean if we were to allow this without any commercial space, and it was only residential, then they need a special
So why
permit.
wouldn't we be able to approve a special permit for the apartment on the first floor? We can make any changes we want to this, looks to me. But, I mean, if we can say he doesn't need any commercial with just a special permit, then that doesn't make a lot of sense. The other thing is regarding the two means of egress, I think that should be omitted from this bylaw because zoning can't dictate the interior of the building. So, and Rob's going to do the review, and there are circumstances that a single means of egress is appropriate, depending on the fire rating of the cars and
Bob, can I just elaborate on that?
Yes, please do.
But I think it's specified to a single and two-family, not a mixed use, as far as restricting the zone.
just for 1 and 2.
1 and 2 family.
So, yeah, I think that's not really, if you feel as though a variance is required, I don't really have a problem with that. But I think that's up to Rob. And that's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Kimball?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to see the old building stay there because it's a beautiful building. But that being said, a couple issues I have is, one, I'd like to see the sidewalk continued all the way down Linden Street to the side of the property. We don't increase sidewalks, and I think it would look a lot better. If you look down Linden Street, there's a nice corridor, but I'd like to see the sidewalk all the way down. I'm concerned about the amount of asphalt behind the building, and I believe what it says here, you're required to have 11 spaces for the residential, you've got 4 spaces for the business use. I was wondering if we could eliminate 1 space in the back towards the Chinese restaurant to kind of bring the asphalt down a little bit to give us a little more buffer zone between the residential building down back. And do we have access to the roof?
I'm sure we'll have an access to the roof of some sort. We'll have to get
We have an access for what?
To get up to the roof.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm not the architect. Yeah. But it's not, there is going to be a depressed drain in the flat area that collects the runoff. Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about. I would like to see a space removed and avoid.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that.
But we have, I mean, it is, there is a lot of impervious area around the lot now. If you look at the existing house, there's several walkways that go around the house. There's the existing garage. There's a substantial driveway that comes off walkways, roof, that actually there is no infiltration for that now. I mean, it just drains on the lot. We are picking up all of the runoff from the roof area as well as the parking area in providing infiltration. So it's not like we're going to be increasing any runoff to any abutters. It slopes towards the streets, and most of the drainage now all goes out to the street, and there are some catch basins at the corner of South Ave and Linden. So,
Just a suggestion. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
thank you.
Mr. Blas?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The existing property is, has a chain link fence all the way around it. I'm assuming that's going to come down, or what will there be any fencing on the westerly side or on the southerly side of the lot?
Actually, there's a chain link, but it goes to stockade along the existing retail businesses next door. On the back, there is a chain link fence that runs into a stockade fence. Actually, Mr. Dunbar, the abutter, is here tonight, and he can probably speak on that.
Well, no, my question was, what is the proposed fencing? Is there going to be any fencing on the southerly side or on the, I guess it'd be
I felt that fence was going to remain, but
Is that fence on your applicant's property, or is it on the,
I believe it's.
I mean, is it their fence? I guess that's,
I believe it's. It belonged to the subject property.
okay.
Okay, so are you proposing
It's his fence.
His fence, yeah. Thank you.
his fence, meaning? Okay.
It belongs.
What is there any fencing proposed for the new structure?
We're just showing the existing fence.
I know you're showing these. I'm asking if there's any provision for fencing to separate it from the Chinese property. I say Chinese, I mean the.
Well, there is a stockade fence that runs from the rear corner all the way. That's going to remain.
Okay, so you're saying it's going to remain. Okay.
Yeah.
How wide is the sidewalk on South Avenue, and how wide will the sidewalk be on the Linden Street?
It's roughly six feet wide, and it continues around the curve, and this will be too. Because presently there's a concrete coping that runs up the property line. If you go there now, I mean, there's actually people that park cars there.
But 6 feet, so I see on the drawing you've got a coffee shop, just a suggestion on the corner, but there's not enough room to put little tables out there or anything like that to make it kind of like a cafe kind of thing.
I mean, there is
you got to be able to get by. And
yeah, well, this roof actually sticks out like 5 feet. I don't know, it could be in there. Yeah. These old plantings there.
I'm just wondering if it could be pushed back a little bit. Make it a little bit wider.
Steve,
If what could be pushed
If
back
the building be pushed back
4-6.
down Linden Street?
Linden Street, a couple of feet, extending the sidewalk.
Wash back. Yeah, I can certainly talk to Jamie about that. I don't think there's anything holding it back a little bit. Again, I don't know what the commercial spaces that might be.
Yeah, I mean, I have the building at this corner 6.5 feet back from the property line because I felt that the overhang was around the covered overhang that comes off would be roughly 5.5 feet.
So the cover, does that then kind of like abut the 6 feet of the sidewalk? So you really have like 11 feet then? Between the actual building and the street?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you're then here. Disregard what I was asking because you're already providing for that kind of room. So 4 parking spaces in the back for the 3 commercial spaces.
Well, I'm showing 5 spaces here in the
5 spaces for this.
is this when you're saying the back?
Well, no, I know when you did your parking calculations, you had, 10 parking spaces for the residents?
11.
11 for the residents, but then there were 4 or 5 for the businesses?
Correct.
It would seem to me that unless someone's walking to work, they're going to need those at least 3, possibly 4 or 5 spaces for the employees. Where is the nearest public parking for anyone who might want to patronize these establishments?
Public parking?
Yes.
Well, that would be the only public parking lot is in the center of town. We're a long ways from there. I mean, there are some cars now that park in front of this area here. I mean, there are cars that could park on Linden Street, but other than that, I know they just park on the side of the streets. But
Is that legal parking on Linden Street?
there's no signs that say no parking. Like I say, there's a concrete coping that runs right up this property line, so there has been cars that do park there.
Right, but you wouldn't once you do all of this.
That's why I put the sidewalk in
Right.
here, and I wouldn't want anything that close to the corner.
Right. But there's no parking on South. There's no room for any parking on South Avenue. Correct.
I would say no.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lane that. I mean, I wouldn't call it a bike lane, but it's a lane that's marked off. That's probably 5-6 feet wide.
I mean, I'm looking at the Google Earth and maps and things like that, and there's not really, maybe 3 feet or so outside of the white line. So no basement.
Correct.
What about shielding for the neighbors? Let's just say Mr. Dunbar is the most affected neighbor, and you're putting the utilities on the roof in the center. What kind of shielding or what kind of decibels are you anticipating for noise output?
Well, the flat area, I mean, the whole building is surrounded on the roof, which will obviously cut down on any noise from up top. We don't really have, that I know of, any ACs going outside the building. We've kept the dumpster area as, pretty, rather than put it up in the back corner. Near Mr. Dunbar's property, I put it up closer to the building, and which allows for people within the building an easier access spot to the dumpster rather than walking the whole length of the parking lot. And then we just kind of show some more greenery in the back.
But the roof units, they're going to be almost like a bowl, where the outside will be higher than the flat roof.
I believe so. I know, Jamie. I know we've also shown there's a rail along the back.
So is that going to create a natural sound buffer?
That's the idea, yeah.
Okay. Is there drainage coming from the inside? I mean, it's going to be sort of like a stadium where all the rain is going to come down in the middle. Are there drains?
Yeah, there's going to be the roof will pitch to the middle with a as it does on most flat roofs, to a drain area.
A drain area in the middle.
And then that drain area is being picked up outside the building here and into this roof infiltration area.
I think that's all I have.
Okay. Let me say first, I think what you've designed is an attractive building. I'm glad you're sort of keeping that look to it. I do want to ask, just for the record, what's this, because I share that I live nearby there. I live a couple blocks away and always looked at that building and said, boy, I wish somebody would buy that building and fix it up. It's a gorgeous building. And I'm assuming you consider the possibility of rehabbing the building. If you can just tell us something about what's going on in the interior, which perhaps reflects what's on the exterior.
John, originally, I was involved with the present owner,
The previous owner,
who they hired me to do a survey and look at the property. And their feeling was that to fix that house up, it would cost more than the value of the house. The inside was pretty well run down. As you know, the outside is. The garage area itself, which actually had a room up above it, has all been somewhat caved in.
The roof is asbestos. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I've often gone by that and said the same thing, John, but I've been going by it for, I don't want to say how many he can say.
Yeah. What has the house been used for? Has it just been a single-family house, or has it been used for apartments?
Yeah, it was. No, it wasn't. No, there was no apartment there that I know of.
Just a single.
The guy lived there. So he was an older guy who lived there.
I assume that.
Maybe some
He was
bats.
there for 25 years. I lived next door to him. Most money I ever put into that house was putting gas in his lawnmower. That was it.
Thank you.
I only respected him because he was a veteran. Other than that,
Okay. Mr. Kimball brought up the idea of extending the sidewalk, which I would have thought was a good idea, but it looks like, can you explain if you're putting some vegetation along Linden Street where you're not putting a sidewalk, or what?
Yeah, well, yeah, from the edge of paving back to the parking area, this would be a grassed area.
Yeah. And what about on the
line shrubs? The same in here. I mean, if we were to extend the sidewalk, I would say only extend it to the edge of the parking lot, not down towards Mr. Dunn.
And so there's an opening for the parking lot, right? It's not. You're not.
Yeah,
there's just an opening for the parking lot.
Yeah, this is
okay.
The entrance. Presently there is an entrance to the existing garage that'll be torn up and grass will be planted there.
So that's my point. I also thought, extend the sidewalk. Some ways it just, because if there's no sidewalk beyond it, might as well have some grass there on each side of the entrance to the parking lot, I think. So my main concern here is the parking for the commercial spaces, commercial establishments. Rob, is there any requirement? What is our requirement?
500 feet. It has to be public parking in 500 feet.
Yeah. And again, being very familiar with this area, I agree with what you said and what Mr. Blas pointed out. You cannot safely park in front of the building on South Ave. You've got the sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, alleyway or cut through that goes in front of the convenience store and Chinese restaurant that empties into South Ave. You've got a curve coming around across the street from the gas station, the convenience store and gas station, Ledbetter's. And if anybody parks in front of this building on South Ave, that would be a hazard. So there certainly isn't room to put parking there. My concern is that people using these businesses are going to park next door in the parking lot that belongs to the Chinese restaurant without having any right to do so. So,
well, it really depends on what those uses are, and obviously we don't know what they are at this time. I mean, I think the purpose of this mixed-use thing is, people, walking to some of these areas. Obviously, it's close to the train station. I mean, I think that was the purpose of having this mixed-use area. And
well, it's a half mile from the train station.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I'm just saying,
yeah. I mean, I think along Washington Street, right downtown, you've got the town parking lot. You've got plenty of on-street parking spaces. We don't have that here on South Ave.
the 2-bedroom units to 1-bedroom units, then there would be 2 additional spaces for.
That's one option. So, you know, it's, that might be a consideration. But like I say, I think people would wind up parking next door, and that's not fair to those business owners. Who knows what's going to happen with that property with the Chinese restaurant out of business. So there may be some proposal to redevelop that, and so it's not. We certainly can't have you relying on parking there, and then just other than heading down towards the post office in that section of, which is again 2 or 3 blocks away. If the businesses do well, I'm concerned about where the people are going to park, and I don't want them parking on Linden Street either. That's not a wide street. I don't think we should be encouraging that. There's residential parking on there, but up towards this corner, I'd rather not see that. And if there isn't enough parking, then the businesses won't do well, and that doesn't do anybody any good either. So, making the 2 bedrooms 1 bedrooms and freeing up 2 more spaces, that might be a consideration. So that's my main concern with this. Otherwise, design-wise, I don't have a concern. I think the 2 egress, I think that came up with another project too, and the same issue was raised that the building code allows this. Why are we imposing a stricter requirement here?
It was right across the street. It was at the gas station.
Was it at the gas station?
It was,
I couldn't remember if it's that or the office. One of those, the proposed reconstruction of the office.
Oh yeah.
But I think it came up. As far as the unit on the ground floor, as long as you've put it in the back, so it's not like sitting on South Ave.
Yeah, it's proposed
right
back right-hand corner.
Yeah.
So that makes that more acceptable to me.
But we're not able to put a condition that it be rented only to a handicap person. Can we? I don't think we can.
No, but we certainly could put a condition that it be constructed as
Easily.
It's an accessible apartment, so I'm sure that the architect's also going to include an accessible route.
Yes.
There's going to be curb cuts, you're going to have the parking closest to it, and accessible to get to it.
And within the unit, the bathroom will be
accessible.
Yeah, I think we can make that a condition.
Does the idea of the one means of egress, does that mean that each bedroom doesn't have to have a second means of egress?
I'm assuming you're going to have emergency egress windows?
Okay, so there will, the apartment won't have a second means of egress other than the windows in each of the bedrooms.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Let me go to members of the public. If there's nothing else from the board, I'm going to go out to the public. Anybody who wishes to speak on this, would you raise your hand, give us your name and address, and let us hear from you. And Mr. Dunbar, I certainly want to hear from you.
I am very happy with this meeting. I hope it comes through. But there are a couple of issues still hovering out there, so see what happens. Gentlemen, ladies, thank you very much.
Would you like to see a fence along, your property?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, leaving the chain link fence there is no.
So a solid fence, whether wood, plastic.
And the noise was an issue. I was worried about the noise. Delivery trucks, trash trucks, backing in, backing out. Not at night, not early in the morning, not on the weekends. Just little stuff like that. Not a big deal.
I think we can.
It's a beautiful building. A lot better than what's there now. No.
Okay.
No, can't get saved, so move forward.
We've put conditions about hours of trash pickup on other projects, haven't we, Rob? Yeah, like not before 7 a.m. or something like that.
I had a question too, just because you...
Go ahead.
Parking. Has the board thought about egg loading or delivery?
Yeah, what about deliveries to the commercial spaces?
I mean, the aisle area in here is, normally you would say it's going to be 24 feet, but it's closer to 40 feet.
Right.
Allows. I mean, it's not like if you went to Stop and Shop and you had an aisle and 24 feet down an aisle. You can see that we have these spaces that in here that is 40 feet with those 4 spaces alone that allows, you know, any truck to park and bring whatever they need inside.
Yeah. If you do reduce the 2 bedrooms to 1 bedroom, so you have 9 bedrooms at that point, then the 5 spaces in the rear closest to Mr. Dunbar's property and the 4 spaces on the west side could be the residential spaces, and the spaces immediately behind the building could be the commercial spaces, and that would probably make.
Yeah, we have least. Well, I have 1 handicap that would
right.
be more than likely for the accessible unit.
Yeah, okay. So, but that would help with that issue.
Mr. Chairman, I just have one more question.
Yes.
For Mr. Garvey. You had mentioned the roof was going to hang over the sidewalk?
Not the town sidewalk.
No, okay. So it's going to hold back from the sidewalk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're mentioning it's the covered walk is what you're talking about that extends out from the building, right? But just goes up to the sidewalk.
On this area, it would be this yellow portion.
But that stays within the property line?
That stays within the property line.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anyone else wish to speak on this? No? Okay. What are thoughts from the board about? Yes, Mr. Andrews.
Mr. Dunbar.
Yes.
It's going to be nice to be quiet there. You no longer have a dental lab on the 3rd floor of that house.
Right. You do know him.
For years,
Yes, he had a little lab up in the attic.
he didn't mess with the 1st and 2nd floors. He had his business
He
up there.
spent his nights up in that lab making tea.
He wanted to do business with me.
Probably got some teeth in my mouth that he made.
Just reactions from members of the board, and before we, keeping the hearing open.
I certainly like the idea of reducing those two bedroom to 1, but can we make it can we require that to be done?
Oh, sure. Yeah, because that affects the number of parking spaces, so I think we can say we only want 9 bedrooms in order to free up some parking for the businesses, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there may be some of the units that are rented to people that don't really have a vehicle.
Right, but I mean, under the bylaw, we've got to provide 1 parking space per bedroom. So.
Mr. Chairman,
Kimball?
we're building too many 1-bedroom apartments in Whitman. And it's nice to see a 2-bedroom apartment. I just, there's probably 40 of them already proposed, and no 2-bedroom apartments. So we need some bedrooms for a small family. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion. Thank you.
And I see that point of view. I'm just so concerned about the parking for the businesses that, if there weren't any businesses at all here, and we were just talking about the 9 units with 11 bedrooms that's proposed here, I wouldn't really have.
But if
an issue.
there is public parking within 500 feet, they have met the parking requirement.
But I don't think there.
Public parking.
Is that sufficient? That it's because certainly there's parking spaces further up South Ave.
Public parking spaces within 500 feet of the site, or located up to 600 feet if they have an agreement.
Yeah.
Such evidence is presented to me.
So that makes it sound like I'm going to have cars coming and going from the front of my house all the time.
Well, I mean, that's one concern, is to avoid having people parking on Linden Street.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a concern for you? That people patronizing? Yeah, that's because that Linden Street, it really isn't wide enough for that either, for you know, to have it as a regular thing. Well, I mean, I'm just throwing it out. Other reactions here, Mr. Curran?
I feel as though Mr. Kimball's right about 2 bedrooms. We need those too. But I feel as though we should finish the sidewalk to the entrance of the driveway.
Okay.
Because if you do that in grass, there are going to be people parking out. If you do curb, then nobody will park on the sidewalk.
Okay.
I think we need to specify the type of fence that's going around. And it certainly is tight. I think if it was 6 units, it'd be a lot easier to accept. So maybe they could do 2 1-bedroom and 1 2-bedroom on each floor. I don't know if that's something that's financially feasible.
Say that again?
Do 2 1-bedroom and 1 2-bedroom on each floor.
Isn't there 3 1-bedroom?
3 and 1, 3 and 1.
Okay, so it makes it bigger.
Get rid of 2 1-bedrooms.
So you still have 9 bedrooms in all, counting the one on the first floor, but you'd have 2 2-bedroom units. Is that something that's feasible? I mean, it's.
That's up to the owner whether.
If there was public parking close by of a lot that somebody could get in and out of easy enough, and I'm concerned about the commercial space. They're hard to lease out or rent out. They're going to be lucky to get a tenant in there.
That's part of my.
I don't want to discourage that by not having any parking nearby.
Yeah, I mean,
I do know that, and Dennis Smith is here. I think there was Environmental Partners was doing something to redesign that whole area on South Ave.
Bruce would know more than I would be, but yes.
Yeah, I remember I was part of a couple of meetings on that.
Right.
That area is way too wide across the street, right in front of Fleming's or the pie shop area.
Okay.
And they were going to redesign that whole section and do it all the way down to the train station. But I don't know if that money's still around.
Yeah.
They're still going for it.
So I think I like the idea of having a 2-bedroom unit. Even if it's just 1 on the 2nd floor. Because 3rd floor with 2 bedrooms is tough if you got kids.
So there is 2-bedroom unit on the 2nd and 3rd floor, right?
Yeah. 1 on the 2nd floor would be nice.
No, there is.
Just 1.
So you say
No, we're talking about getting rid of them all. But
Yeah, there's only 1 2-bedroom unit proposed.
No, 2.
There's two proposed. Okay, I'm sorry.
there's 4 apartments on the 2nd
Okay.
and 3rd floor.
Okay.
3 and 1. 3 and 1.
We'll leave 1 2-bedroom and make the other one a single. And that gives us another space for the commercial.
Or drop single bedrooms from each floor to free up.
So then there'd be 6 apartments above.
Right.
1 on the 1st floor, 6 above.
Right.
We could get
But
together.
it'd be that would
Is it going to change
the
your
total number
addresses based on?
total number of bedrooms would be 9.
Change the whole building.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Mr. Andrews, thoughts on this? Mr. Curran, when you mentioned continuing the sidewalk to the down Linden to the entrance of the parking area, what about on the other side of the parking area?
I mean, if the board so pleases, I think that corner is going to be tight, and where the grass area is, someone's going to park there.
Yeah.
I think there's someone parked there recently. I've seen them, but further down, yeah, that'd be great. But the sidewalk doesn't continue, does it?
No. No, there's a sidewalk on this side of the road, but there is not one on this side.
So what that would do is it would force anybody that's parking there now. Is there anybody parking on that side overnight?
Yeah.
And then they at the Linden House?
No, not the Linden House, another house.
So I think anything near the intersection is all my concern was. So
Okay. So maybe just
sidewalk
that.
to the entrance is fine.
Okay. Mr. Dunbar, where is the driveway on your house? Is it like down Linden Street after your house?
After my house, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So the entranceway to the parking lot of this building will be going where his original driveway is?
Why don't you just show Mr. Garvey where?
Pretty much.
No, well,
Yeah.
the existing garage is, as you know, it's close to the property line, so the driveway.
Yeah.
The driveway right now is here. No, it's
Yeah.
being moved probably.
It'll be farther away.
Oh, yeah.
Farther
I
away.
get you, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
The existing driveway is here, right? So,
All right, what does the board want to do on this?
We'll give you the option of either going with two and one,
Or just,
second floor.
yeah, give us your response.
Yeah, we thought about doing just one or two commercial spaces instead of like three as well. That's we can also do that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, you know, how big are the proposed commercial spaces, square footage?
They range in size. I think one of them is about 500 square feet. The other one is around 900, and the third one is like 700.
Yeah, that's pretty tiny. And I mean, that kind of limits your options.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, we're thinking like maybe like obviously a coffee shop, or maybe like a realty type office, like just a small one for a realty firm. But and we thought about just maybe doing the whole thing, maybe if that works better, or maybe just splitting them into two, just having two commercial spaces.
I don't think we really care
Yeah, I don't, because,
how many businesses you put in there,
Yeah.
so long as the square footage, which is, I don't know, let's just say it's 1,500 square feet, all that remains business, whether it's one tenant or whether it's four
right,
tenants. I don't
because
think we really don't care.
the parking requirement is based pretty much on the square footage overall, not the number of units. So, I mean, it might be different for a coffee shop. Would the parking requirement be different for a food establishment? I'm not sure.
Yeah, a lot different for food.
Whitman needs another ice cream store.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of up to you. I think we would say as a board, you're not locked into having three commercial spaces if this is approved. I think it's what makes sense from a business point of view.
But I really like what you've done with the kind of the patio on both sides of the street, on Linden and South Ave. I think that's very nice, and yeah, it's classy. It's kind of French.
You did a good job.
Could you? Well, do other people share my concern about the number of parking spaces for a commercial space? And the only way to do that, to increase that, is to reduce the number of bedrooms in some fashion. And I share Mr. Kimball's view that having some 2 bedrooms is desirable. We have been approving a lot of 1 bedrooms for whatever reason.
I'm sure it's financial. You get an extra bedroom, you're going to get $400 more a month. But if you got another unit, then you're going to get $1,800 or $2,000 more.
Yeah.
I think we'd rather go to all single unit myself. It eliminates any children playing in the parking lot.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I'm willing to approve it as is with some conditions, but if there was some feeling of the board to continue it, to see if they can come back with something different, it's the order.
Continue it. I guess I'd kind of like some time to think of it. And I guess I'd like you to have some time to consider, is there a way to get down to 9 bedrooms, but still have at least 1 2-bedroom unit? I think there's, at least some sentiment that way. We have another meeting just 2 weeks from tonight on the 12th. So we could make it as short as that, if that is okay for you people. All right. We have 1 hearing scheduled on the 12th. So I'm going to suggest continuing this to Monday, August 12th at 7:30. and let's just give everybody a little more time to think about it. Is that all right? Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bloss, second by Mr. Andrews. All in favor? 5-0. Okay. So if anybody's interested in this, we'll continue the hearing on the 12th at 7:30. You will not be getting another notice in the mail, so just be aware of that. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the patience of the people in the next case, but it's a complicated project and this happens, so.
Thank you. Thank
I'm going to take one of the set of plans with, well, actually I don't need to because I got the small ones. Just looking at the minutes. Alright, want to pass down everything so we can get going? The next one.
Pass that down, please.
These look less
Can I take this home?
Oh, yes. Yep. Good. That's okay, some plans. Has this changed at all?
Here's another one.
Revised 7:08. So we don't need these.
Oh, you revise it?
Yeah, only because one of the other hearings you wanted distances from property.
Okay.
On the pork chop lot, 50 feet, which it wasn't, but it is dimensional.
Can you, Carl, do you have one I can? Do you have one of the revised ones that I can? Oh, well. All right, we're all right.
You don't get one.
Okay, let me call the next hearing to order. This is 129 Washington Street, case number 14. Type of district, residence A2 zone, type of structure, existing two-family, proposed estate lot. Owner's name, James Rourke. Owner's address, Post Office Box 41, Abington. When did you acquire this property? May 14th, 1987. Has application been filed with town clerk? Yes. Has any previous appeal been made? No. Section of bylaw of which relief is requested, section 240-6.5, lot frontage variance for lots 1 and 2. Reason for asking relief, applicant wishes to subdivide existing 2.08 acre lot into 2 lots, lot 1 containing an existing two-family with 24,544 square feet with 95.01 feet of frontage, lot 2 containing 1.51 acres with 30 feet of frontage, allowing access to a single-family home to be set back over 200 feet from Washington Street. This case was advertised in the Whitman Express on July 11th and July 18th. Sitting on the case will be Mr. Keeman, Mr. Andrews, Mr. Curran, Mr. Blas, and myself, John Goldrosen, and Mr. Kimball will participate in the hearing as well. This time we'll have the reading of the list of abutters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The following is an abutters list using the requirements of the State Zoning Act, parties in interest for the property located at 129 Washington Street, Whitman, Mass. book 7701, page 010. Smith Family Irrevocable Trust, Chad Smith, trustee, Christina Shaw, Judy Marcicella, and Anthony Marcicella Jr. The Carnes Realty Trust, Judith Carnes, trustee, Robert Carnes Jr., trustee, Johnson Revocable Trust, Robert Parker Johnson, trustee, Dawn Mary Johnson, trustee. 29 Rose Way Trust, Kathleen M. Hanson, trustee, Robert D. Lombardi, trustee. Mark and Carrie Ruggiero, Giuseppe Familia, Kate E. Sheridan Familia, John G. Coyne, Mark D. Ryan, Judith K. Ryan, Claudia Chapman, William F. and Stella Hayden, Skarinka Realty Trust, Peter A. and Cheryl A. Skarinka, trustees, Ava Walter, John and Judith McLaughlin, Gloria L. Knox.
Thank you, Mr. Bloss. Okay, anybody who's here for this case, if you would raise your right hand, please, and take an oath. Do you solemnly swear the evidence you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Okay. The procedure we follow, we let the applicant make their presentation. I'll read some letters into the record from town boards. We'll then have questions and comments from members of the zoning board, and we'll then go out to you, the public, and ask you for your comments and questions as well. Mr. Garvey, are you representing the applicant?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kyle Garvey representing James Rourke, who is present tonight for our property located at 129 Washington Street. The entire property contains 2.08 acres. That contains a two-story, two-family building built in the early 1900s at the front portion of the lot. The property is bordered on the west by Washington Street, on the north by land of Walter, and then also on the north by Mr. FEMA on property off of Rose Way, which is a newer subdivision, bordered on the east by Mr. Coyle, who is also off of Rose Way, and on the southerly portion by 3 lots located on Old Coach Road. The proposal for the property is to subdivide it into 2 lots. Lot 1 containing 24,544 square feet, 95 foot of frontage, with the existing dwelling on it. The second lot is a lot containing 1.51 acres, which is basically an estate lot with a proposed single-family home on it. The home will be in excess of around 250 feet back from Washington Street. It'll be 50 feet, in excess of 50 feet from all property lines, as far as 80 feet to the FEMA property, 54 feet to Old Coach property, and then off the existing proposed property line would be around 60 feet. The dwelling would be connected to both town sewer and water. The driveway and grading would be constructed to allow emergency vehicle access over the strip of land. The construction of only one house on this property allows for a lot of the existing woodland and brush area to remain, which would basically be this green area. We do show some lawn area around the house. We did look into subdividing, putting a road in there similar to Rose Way, and constructing a couple houses on it, which would require altering quite a bit of the property. That would not be a zoning issue, it would be more of a planning board issue, going through the planning board, constructing a road, putting 2 houses in the back, and leaving the existing dwelling. But we felt that this would be the most suitable for this property, and would not require as much removal of trees and area to be altered. Both lots require a frontage variance, and as you know, along Washington Street, most lots do not actually conform to present zoning as far as frontage goes, basically because a lot of them were built in the early 1900s, and also actually the whole code subdivision, that whole subdivision actually doesn't conform to the present zoning for frontages either, which probably contains around 80 houses. So the variance we're requesting is for frontage for both lots 1 and 2.
All right, let me read letters into the record from town boards. From the planning board at the July 9, 2024 meeting, the board reviewed the plan for 129 Washington Street. The planning board recommends approval of the requested waivers by a 4-0-1 vote, with Mr. Griffin abstained from the vote. Adam Somerville, chairman. From Fire Rescue and Emergency Services. At this time, Whitman Fire Rescue and Emergency Services has no objection to this proposal, provided all applicable fire and building codes are met, to include sufficient fire emergency apparatus access, egress, and water supply. Sincerely, Timothy Clancy, Jr., Chief. From the Board of Health, the Whitman Board of Health gives conditional approval to the petition of James Rourke for a lot frontage variance from section 240-6.5 as the applicant wishes to subdivide the existing lot containing a two-family dwelling into 2 lots. The first lot with the existing dwelling to have 24,544 square feet of area with 95.01 feet of frontage, and the second lot to have 1.51 acres of area with 30 feet of frontage, in order to allow a single-family dwelling to be constructed on the second lot and set back over 250 feet from Washington Street for the property located at 129 Washington Street. Whitman DPW master files shows the existing structure is connected to water and sewer. To receive final approval, the owner must also connect any new dwellings to municipal water and sewer. Sincerely, Dan Kelly, health agent. Okay, questions from the board, Mr. Keeman?
I have nothing to say.
Okay. Mr. Andrews?
I do.
Nothing. Okay, Mr. Curran?
Question regarding 129 Washington Street. What is there now? It's a two-family, right?
Yeah, that's why we
Number of bedrooms and.
The zoning bylaw requires a two-family to have 22,500 square feet, and so we've made that lot in excess of that 24,000 square feet, and it contains two bedroom units.
Two bedroom.
Yeah, for a total of 4.
The existing driveway is just gravel.
We're actually proposing relocating it with spaces in the back.
No more questions.
All right. Mr. Kimball?
Yeah, no, my only comment is, are we going to do something with the building at 129 to make it look a lot better, because it's rather shabby at this point?
Yes, I talked to Jim about that. He plans on taking any proceeds from the sale of that lot, putting it into the existing house, that's the existing building that's on the property now. And I've also talked to the abutter to the north about taking down some trees adjacent to their property.
Thank you. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Plaus?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've had a few of these retreat lots, some in front of us. And my recollection is we treat each one on its own merit. However, what we look for is, for us to approve this, we would have we're taking a conforming lot and creating 2 non-conforming lots. When we've considered these in the past, it's always been I'll go so far as to say a requirement that the lot that's being subdivided maintain all required zoning conditions, which would include the frontage. So if this was 170 feet of frontage and you had an extra 50 feet, subdividing it to 120 and then 50 for the driveway, thereby the original lot still maintaining the 120 foot frontage, but I'm concerned here because we're taking a conforming lot and making two non-conforming lots. I think in my opinion, the lot's too narrow to do this.
Anything else?
No, that's all I have.
Mr. Blas's concern is mine as well. Again, yes, we've approved this sort of state lot creation, maybe and I'll just explain it for the benefit of everybody attending as well. A number of years ago, maybe many years ago at this point, the town approved a zoning bylaw amendment that would have allowed what's called pork chop lots, where you have narrow frontage and then a house set way back. And there were conditions there that the new house had to be at least 50 feet from all lot lines. When it went to the Attorney General disapproved it for a technical reason. I think there was something in the bylaw saying this only applies to lots created after such and such a date. And the Attorney General, because they didn't want people to just create a new lot just to take advantage of this. And so the Attorney General disapproved it. The town never went back and redid it. But we've had a number of these come before us over the years, and we have tended to approve them if they would have met the requirements of the bylaw that town meeting had approved, particularly the setback from adjacent lots. And, some we haven't approved because it still wound up being too close to the neighbors, and we weren't comfortable with it for one reason or another. But, having said that, when we've approved it, Mr. Blas says, it's been with the pre-existing lot, the lot that's left over after you create the new lot, still meeting all the zoning requirements. And this won't, because it won't meet frontage, so we're creating a new non-conforming lot. I think the only way I can see, kind of justifying this possibly in my mind is that if they built a subdivision road through here, opening it up and having two buildings in back, at that point, the existing lot at 129 Washington Street would have frontage on the new subdivision road. Correct. And would be conforming. So if we turn them down, they can get around it by doing it that way, but that results in more use of the back parcel than what they're proposing. So I'm weighing that in my mind. That's what's going through my mind. Otherwise, the only other issue I would want to put a condition, as we've done with similar lots that are created this way, that the width of the driveway to the new structure will be based on the approval of the fire chief. So whether he wants it 12 feet wide with 2 feet of gravel on each side, or 14 feet, whatever. But I think with 30 feet, there'll still be plenty of room on each side without it being an issue. I would be interested if the owner of 113 Washington Street is here, particularly to see whether they'd want a fence along the driveway or something of that sort. But other than that, that's my main concern, is that we're creating another non-conforming parcel. So with that said, I'm going to go to members of the public. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Garvey.
Address that?
Yep.
We have, done in the past. We did it on Franklin Street. We created lots with 90 foot of, two lots with 90 foot of frontage. Created another lot up there that made it non-conforming. But, this particular lot will have 95 feet of frontage. The house is pushed to the north, and the frontage abutting the 113 property doesn't really provide anything. The lot's going further up the street. The Walter lot has around 80 foot of frontage. The next two up there, one has 65 feet, another one 73, another one has 73.86. So it's actually in excess of three of the four lots on the northerly side of this.
Okay, that's helpful.
And also more than the lots across the street.
Okay. All right. Okay, so members of the public, anybody wishes to speak, please raise your hand and give us your name and address, and we'd like to hear your reactions. Yes, sir, and back.
How you doing, John Cohen, 69 Roadway. I bought the back of the property.
Okay.
So, back in 18, I purchased that property with the understanding that I'd have the privacy to the right and left of my property. And that was through Mr. Egan, which I believe Mr. Rook tried to sell that to him back in 18, and it didn't pan out, or that would be the case. But I'm not quite sure if he's involved in this now. But, if he is, it'd be good to know too, if is he going to sell it to Steve? I know there was some back talk about it back in 18.
Well, I don't want to get into that, but I think, Mr. Garvey, can you explain how far the proposed dwelling would be from Mr. Coyne's lot line?
Based on my measurements, it's about 80 feet from the corner of my driveway to the back of the house.
No, it's well over 200 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the plans I picked up from the town were every inch was 20 feet.
Mr. Garvey, why don't you go ahead and show?
Now, I'm talking about the right corner to your left. That's my driveway.
You're over here.
Yes. I'm up towards the street more though.
Yeah. Well, we're only developing right here. This dimension to here is 130 feet, then it's 144 feet to here.
Okay, so the scale must have been off because it said every inch was 20 feet.
I don't know where that plane comes from, but it's not this one.
If you get the copy, it's not true to scale.
Okay, well, it came from your office, I don't know, but
Yeah, but the copy would be true to scale.
Okay.
But the measurements are on.
Okay, yeah, I looked at those too, but outside of that, if you look at the topography, I'm no engineer, but the low point of that lot is right in my driveway. So I've already had issues with in the rain, and my neighbors here, the Femias, their backyard floods. There's either a natural stream off that property, but my driveway's already caved in. I had to have that repaired because it undermined the driveway. So if we are going to do this project, what's the control of the runoff and whatnot?
Well, we're leaving most of the vegetation there. We're not, a single family home doesn't even, if you file a notice of intent, doesn't even require anything with DEP as far as any drainage. But like I say, whatever water you have going there now will probably continue going there, but we're not going to contribute to it. His lot, if you look at the Record Grove subdivision plan, he has a wetland to the east of his property. The house that he constructed is within the buffer zone. There's also a detention basin located on his property, so he's definitely going to have a wet lot because half of the property is detention basin on the Roseway subdivision.
I handled that with Mr. Egan. It took about 4 years, but we got it under control. So it doesn't hold water anymore, but, these are my concerns. And the other part would be...
Look at Rose, that particular lot.
Okay.
On the wetland map. This is the wetland area. This is the detention basin. This is his house. This is our lot. That's showing that's fairly new area.
Okay. Continue, Mr. Carney. I know you had another point to make.
So my other concern is, I know, around town we see all these wild animals, right? Well, we got coyote all over the place back there. They live in those woods. Same with the deer, so they're going to get pushed out naturally. And I understand they're keeping some land there, but there's houses that are above that, all along the back. The Femias, Mr. Lombardi here, and they can speak for themselves if they like, but those are my concerns. The biggest one being the privacy. I bought that for pretty good money, knowing that there wasn't enough frontage there to put another lot. My understanding of the state law is he's got to show a hardship to prove a variance. So what's the actual hardship here? Other than he's looking to make some money, I understand everybody likes the green, but...
The hardship under the zoning act is the shape, topography of the lot is elongated. It's a good sized lot, and it does fall under the requirements of a variance. As far as Rose Way, I mean, you know, there were probably coyotes and so forth out there, and now he lives in an 11-lot subdivision. We're asking for one house on a pretty good sized piece of property. So those, I guess it's okay to build 11, but not one.
Well, I was just trying to make a point, I'm not trying to get anyone upset here, but you know.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Kate Femia, 59 Rose Way. I agree with John Coyne. When we purchased, we actually picked that lot for the privacy. And I feel like if you take a look at our property line, it's going to be a house basically in our, you know, to the left of our backyard. And so I feel like the privacy is going to kind of be gone with just a random house that.
The house is roughly 78 feet from the property line. If we did a 2-lot subdivision in here, the sideline setback would be 20 feet. In that zone. All right.
So this is all wooded now, this back area?
Yes.
And,
yeah, pretty much so. Yeah.
I mean, you're proposing to, you know, have the house and a lawn area around it. Yeah, but I wonder if we could have, since it's what you're planning anyway, if we had a condition relating to how much of the wooded buffer would remain, reflecting what's on your plan, because it looks like you've got 20 or 30 feet of woods that you're not going to remove even after you put the lawn area in, right?
Yeah, in the back between.
And likewise for the Coyne property, you probably have 100
feet, and this is at least 30 feet of woodland remaining.
So maybe we could come up with a condition that reflects what you're doing, but just so a future owner doesn't come in and clear cut. You know, you sell what a house is built there, and the future owner comes in and clear cuts the whole thing. If we had a condition that would at least be more protective of, you know, reflect what you're showing, but guarantee it. That'd be something I'd propose. Anyone else? Yes, sir, and back.
Reverend by 29 Rose Way. The question I have is just what you're talking about, the buffer of the woods. I like the woods. I like to keep looking over and see the woods. If you make a stipulation that they do this lot and they can't cut down that lot, does that stick with that forever, or can they buy the lot, put the thing on and cut all the trees down?
Yeah. If we grant a variance as this is needed with a condition, that's essentially enforceable by the building inspector.
Yeah, but here's my concern with that, Mr. Chairman, is it's not like anybody's going to come to me to investigate if they need to cut a tree down. So they could level it, and then are you going to make them plant the trees back?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we usually rely on the neighbors to enforce these
provisions. They can cut all the trees down if they want.
I'm not saying that. I don't know if there's wetlands out there. Maybe Mr. Garvey can speak to that. I don't know.
I don't think so.
There's no wetlands out there. But obviously the builder, to dig up stumps and cut trees and bring them to a disposal site costs money. No builder is going to go out here and build a house and say, I'm going to cut down all the trees so I can spend money on taking the stuff to the dump. Okay. It's not going to happen. Not today. I mean, 40 years ago it might have happened.
But the new owner built new there.
Hey, well, I'm talking.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
That's not my question. My question is the stipulation, right, that buffer stays there. Is that recorded in whatever they buy the land of the thing? So they can't come in 2 years later and cut all the trees down.
It's will be in our decision. The decision gets recorded at the Registry of Deeds. Okay. So anybody who buys the property, and if they read that decision, which they should, is on notice of that condition.
As long as they leave the trees there, I don't care what they do. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we can put it. The question is, who's going to regulate it?
I'll call the tree police.
Yeah.
John, we can put that on the plan. I mean, this plan would be subdivided. It would be brought to the planning board for endorsement, gets recorded at the registry, and we show a 30-foot no tree removal, and whatever we show in the back, it's on record at the Registry of Deeds.
Yeah.
I'll go for that.
So, Okay, yes, sir, over there.
Yeah, is this house being built?
I'm sorry, can you have your name and address?
Al Smith, 12 Old Coach Road. Is
Okay.
this house being built to be occupied by the builder himself, or is it being built to sell?
I'm assuming to be built to be sold, right?
Okay.
Yeah, he's planning on, it would be built by somebody like a Mentor or somebody like that.
Okay, and I don't know what the fourth gentleman's name is over there, but I do agree with you that house number one, or near Washington, definitely needs to be cleaned up around there.
Okay. Anyone else? I thought I saw somebody. Yes, sir.
59 Rose Way, Femia.
Yeah.
So our property's closer.
Right.
It's about 80 feet away with the 20 foot, 20 to 30 foot buffer. But I'm also concerned about the water because there's a brook in I know that can be taken care of, but there's a brook in the woods and I have 2 drainage systems in my backyard just to get the water out. So I'm concerned with a house being built back in those woods right next to that system. I'm going to need something else because I get a swamp in the backyard. Yeah, right. Yeah. And they had to add a drain kind of after the fact because we had so much water.
I mean, this property basically slopes from 104 at Washington Street to elevation 9. The lot slopes 10 feet in a southerly direction. The house is up around elevation the existing ground is 99. The low spot is 93. But we're not going to be contributing any additional runoff.
I mean, any runoff from the house is going to go into the ground around the house.
We have 150 feet to the back property line from the house.
Okay.
So if you want to come up here and look at this.
Yeah, are those houses on the left Roseway?
Yeah.
No, that's Washington Street.
No, this is Washington Street.
Roseway is up on top.
I mean, here's the cul-de-sac.
Because I thought it was okay, that's what I wanted to see. Because I'm over here. As long as this stuff stays in there, I don't have a problem with it. Anyway. But yeah, that's it.
Okay, must be one of these lots here.
That was in the 10.
Okay.
As long as they don't take the trees down, I can see it.
Okay, Mr. Kimball wanted to add something.
Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Gotti, we've got 97, 98, 99 right next to the proposed building. Is that the increase in lot or is that the existing slope of the lot?
This is connecting the 97 contour to the 97 contour, the 98 contour to the 98 contour, and then the 99 circles the house.
So you're going to bring in some fill to bring it up?
Well, yeah, they'll be digging out a foundation and there'll be some fill left over. Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Again.
I don't think anybody asked or does it even state how many square feet is the actual house?
What's the size of the proposed house, sir?
I mean, it's a regular, I've shown kind of what I consider an oversized colonial that most developers are building with a 24 by 24 garage, and they're usually 26 by another 38 feet.
Yeah. One thing I would want as a condition, which we've imposed on similar projects, is that it be a single-family house and not a
that's what we're proposing. Yeah.
So I would make that a condition. Anyone else? Yes, go ahead.
I'm just concerned because I don't think Mr. Egan thought that he was going to have the issues he had with the water. Is there anything that can be done if he starts to build and there is issues with Roseway that worsens, how the water was? Or?
Well, again, it's a single house versus an entire subdivision. That's one thing. None of this property is in is a wetland area or a buffer to wetland area, correct?
No, it is not.
Okay. I'm assuming from what's been said that might not have been the case with Roseway.
No, the map that I showed you, John showed quite a bit of this real lot here within the 100-foot buffer zone.
Yeah, Roseway was closer to wetlands than this is, and I think that's why a detention basin had to be put in, because of that.
I mean, this green area. Is there any recourse?
If it becomes worse.
If it gets worse, and I don't believe there is there, John? It's a civil matter, right?
Yeah, I mean,
there may be more runoff on our property now that they built Roseway also. Some of those lots are sloping to the back. No doubt about it, they're sloping to the back.
Right. Yes, sir.
It's for this young lady. I don't know if you can see her.
Okay, I can see a hand. Go ahead.
Claudia Chapman, 113
Yes.
Washington Street. I have a problem with the trees on that side because they're hanging over on my wires and stuff. Is he going to cut them down? Is he going to get rid of that shed that's out front there?
Yeah.
It's all going to have to go.
That'll all go.
Yeah, there's a note here, shed to be raised, and
that's where the roadway is going to be built, so he'll have to
or the driveway.
Are the trees that she is speaking of within the proposed driveway to the rear house?
Pardon me?
The trees that she's speaking of, are they within the driveway to the rear house?
Are there trees in that area? Yeah, there are some trees within this area here.
So I think
they're hanging over on my wires too.
Yeah, well, and to put the road in, obviously, any trees in here would be fine.
And that shed would go.
And that shed would go.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Sir, do you still want to speak?
No.
Okay.
I have a question, John.
Let me just, anybody else who wish to speak on this? Okay, Mr. Bloss.
Thank you. Is the 129, is that owner occupied?
No.
Is
129 owner occupied?
No, there's two apartments.
So it's strictly an income. It's strictly an income property.
Not if you saw what I get for rents.
All right. Other thoughts from members of the board?
No, I hate creating a precedent like this. Because not every street has this size of lots.
Well, I think we'd have to put in the decision what distinguishes, be careful to put in the decision what distinguishes this from other properties, which includes that there are others along Washington Street with substandard frontages, that the alternative is a subdivision road that creates more lots.
Is there a way that we can require 129 be condition be improved as a condition of the approval of the plan?
I don't know how enforceable that would be.
Well, you'd have to be careful with the stipulation.
Yeah. I'll just ask Mr. Rourke, what do you intend to do?
2 years with that property.
What do you intend to do to fix up that property?
Based upon the sale of the lot, I was going to put money back into 129 Washington Street. I mean, it can't be done overnight. I don't know how long it's going to take to sell a lot. So there's a time frame there. So.
And what kind of work needs to be done? I'm sure you've kind of figured out what.
I would say they'd probably upgrade the bathrooms and the kitchen.
Mr. Chairman, more concerned about the exterior of the building.
Yeah, I was going to say, what about the exterior? That's what they're concerned about.
That goes without saying.
There's a possibility to put an order condition that they can't get a building permit till the building on the 129.
Yeah, I don't.
But they're going to sell them.
No, because they're going to sell it, so by that time.
If it's one lot with another one, it's
yeah.
I'm not going to be enforcing it.
Yeah, I don't think that's.
I think he's going to improve it. I take it for his word.
I think we've asked him.
I know what you're going to do.
No enforcement mechanism.
I think I've at least asked him to put it on the record what his intent is. I don't think we can do more than that.
That happened to the gas station down on South Ave, and the next day the guy was painting it because of you.
Yeah. Mr. Andrews?
I think Mr. Blas suggested asking him to withdraw without prejudice and come back in 2 years.
Within 2 years.
And that would give him time to clean up number 129.
Well, it's the proceeds from lot 2 that are going to
Yeah,
lot 1, so 2 years isn't really going to
I don't
do the trick.
Yeah,
I mean, basically the lot is 65,000 square feet. Lots in that zone are allowed to be 18,000 square feet. We're doing one additional lot where next door on Roseways there are lots 18,000, 18,000, 18,000, 20,000, 18,000. And I think one lot here is better than 2.
Well, none of the homes in Roseway are anywhere near this place.
Roseways are here. There's a house here, and there's a house here, and there's a house up in here.
They're all quite a bit of a distance away from
But they all want a buffer zone, and we're going to give them a buffer zone.
All right, well, I'm going to close the hearing then and have the board deliberate and just decide on this. Anything further? Otherwise, we're going to close the hearing and the board's going to consider this.
I brought it up a little while ago by putting a cul-de-sac area in like Roseway. You're increasing just the paving in the road itself. You're putting 2 houses in. Then we're going to cut down all the trees in the back and put a detention basin there because we'll have to. And I think if I was in a butter, I'd certainly rather have this than this. And this is allowed under, we don't have to come back here, it's allowed under the planning board.
What would it cost to build that road?
The additional lot would pay for it. More than pay for it.
300 grand?
No, I don't think so, no.
All right, if we're done, I'm going to close the hearing and let the board deliberate on this. I would suggest that if there were to be a motion to approve it, it'd be with conditions that this be a single-family home only, that the tree buffers be maintained as shown on the plan submitted to the board, and we'd reference the plan in our decision. And as reasons for granting the variance, well, also that the width of the driveway be subject to the approval of the fire chief, that the vegetation that extends over onto 113 Washington Street be cleaned up so it's not, the trees are not going onto that property, which you're probably going to do anyway, but just in case. And that the reasons for distinguishing this property for others and in granting the variance for 129 Washington Street include that there are other properties close to the vicinity of this house along Washington Street that are also under the current zoning standards. That's if somebody wishes to make a motion to that effect, and then we can see whether it's going
Can I ask
to.
another question?
Yes, Mr. Khan.
Mr. Garvey, where is the existing driveway right now? Is it in the layout of the proposed new driveway?
No.
Back to the lot? Or
The driveway for here?
Where's the existing driveway right now?
Right here. And it goes right here.
That's how it exists?
Yeah, and then it goes over towards the shed area. But the driveway goes, right, there's a dash line right there, that's the limits of the gravel drive.
Use of the shed, use of the driveway.
Okay. All right, so I'll just ask, does somebody want to make a motion to the effect of what I just said, and we can vote it up or down?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion? All right. Does somebody want to make a motion to deny? Or what's the wish of the board?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'll move to deny.
And what are the grounds for denial?
Creating two non-conforming lots vis-a-vis the frontage from one currently conforming lot.
All right.
I'll second.
Second. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor of the motion to... yeah, we'll just vote it now. We're not going to bother with withdrawing. All in favor of the motion to deny? Yes.
You made a motion, correct?
Yeah, didn't get second to that.
There was nobody seconded.
What was his motion?
To approve it under the conditions I stated. Okay. And just so you know, and everybody knows, for this to be approved, it would take 4 votes in favor out of the 5 people voting. Okay, we have a motion to deny on the table for the reasons stated by Mr. Blas. All in favor of the motion?
Second?
Yes, it was a second by Mr. Curran. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor of the motion to deny? Okay. All opposed to the motion to deny? 4-1. So the proposal is denied. Thank you for coming and providing input. I'll keep these copies for myself. All right. Again, thank you to those who are on these later cases. It's just we always schedule half an hour to give a full discussion, and sometimes there are cases more complicated than others. Yes. Mr. Garvey, do you have revised plans? Yeah. Let me just. I think we have some people here tonight who were not here for the first hearing. So I'm going to just ask everybody to raise their right hand, take an oath. Do you solemnly swear the evidence you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Just to review what happened at the first hearing for the benefit of people who are not here. And again, I'm sorry. I'm reopening the hearing for 29-33 Perry Ave. This is a continuation of the hearing. The first session was held on July 1st. So the situation with the property, just to sum it up, there are 2 existing structures on the property, both of which 100 years old, whatever, they predate zoning. And as a result, they can continue to be used as is. One, yeah, folks, Bob, please, I'm speaking, please. The house that's, as you face the property, the house to the right is a 2-family and is going to remain that way. Nothing is proposed for that. But the one that's to the left and set back is currently being used as a 3-bedroom single-family house. The request is to allow it to be used as 2 units, one being 2-bedroom, one being 1-bedroom. So it would increase from 1 unit to 2, but the number of bedrooms would be the same. And in looking at the property, and I think it was Mr. Montgomery? Mm-hmm. Yeah, was here, lives across the street, pointed out that the front of the property had all kinds of cars there under the previous ownership. And it was a sentiment of the board that it would be an improvement to the proposal if the parking for the second unit were placed behind, let's say the left-hand unit, the setback unit. If the parking for that were in the rear of the building, then the front of the building, there could be more green space, and that would make it look more like, a residential, 1 or 2 family residential area than having a row of parking along the front of the building. So that was the sentiment. And so we asked the applicant to redraw the plan to show that parking. We didn't want to just kind of approve it without seeing a plan in front of us. And that's why that's what we asked them to do. That's what they're here tonight. But we can certainly take additional testimony and have additional questions from members of the public who either were or weren't here last time. So with that said, Mr. Garvey, can you explain?
Yeah, basically on the front, we showed the existing asphalt to be removed, which is in this particular area here. I'm also showing a few tree plantings in the front lawn area. Basically, I call them shade trees. Recommended trees would be red maple trees. We revised, and we're putting the parking basically to the rear of the existing structure. The second floor unit has an access also that goes over the roof of the first floor, and that line in there is the upstairs to the second unit. You asked that he provide a building plan showing his access to.
Okay.
They have him.
Okay.
Is there another? Yeah, the other sheet. I think I forget you.
Okay. And are you showing a fence between this property and number 41, Perry, the Cormier's property?
Yes. Proposed stockade fence.
Okay. And that would extend all the way down to the end of the parking area? Is that right?
For the most part, yeah. I think he may have some agreement, 15 lengths of 8-foot pipe, 8-foot fence, whatever that is. 120 feet.
Okay, I mean, I think we would want to have that so that that parking area is shielded from the Cormier's property. Mm-hmm. Okay. Questions from members of the board about this before I go out to the public for questions and comments? And let me just see who was.
What's the square footage per floor or per unit on the back?
For the rear building? Yeah. Can you give us that?
Let me have to figure that out.
I think I gave
And is the third, I guess the second floor it's smaller than the first floor?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's 27 by, well, the outside dimension is 27 by 24. The second floor unit is over this part, and this would be the first floor. So the stairs in the back come up, and they actually, the egress, there's an egress.
That's where the deck is in the back.
Yeah.
Okay. And sitting on the one members I designate to sit and vote on this case were Mr. Andrews, Mr. Blas, Mr. Curran, Mr. Kendall, and myself. Mr. Keeman was present but not assigned to vote on it, but if you have any comments, Mr. Keeman. Anything?
And the exterior has been brought up to condition, right? Or has been
They're currently in the process.
Currently in the process, right?
Yep.
And the neighbors are pretty excited about it, right?
No doubt.
Determined after the last hearing?
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Keeman, did you have anything?
No.
Okay. Mr. Andrews? Mr. Curran?
Looks better, looks great.
Okay. Mr. Kimball?
Just thank you, what I was expecting, so thank you very much.
Mr. Blas?
I'd still like to hear from any other comments from.
Yeah, as would I. So whoever wishes to speak, would you raise your hand, give us your name and address? And yes, sir.
Frank Montgomery, 26 Perry Ave.
Right.
I beg for your patience here. I'll hand these out if you don't mind.
All right.
I know the zoning board is fully aware of zoning law. I don't know if you would want me to recite this or...
No, I think just for the record, you gave us a copy of Section 1 of the zoning bylaw, or highlighted Section 1 of the zoning bylaw.
Okay, I didn't hear it. I know we brought it up at the first meeting. And the main concern, and I'm sure all the other abutters we've talked and agreed that a big concern here is overcrowding in the neighborhood. And we know it's an A2 and multi-family dwelling shouldn't be there, but these are grandfathered in because they've been there forever. So what we're trying to stop here is not the 3-family, it's the 4-family. And it's just a lot of extra people, a lot of extra traffic and cars and noise. And it just doesn't lean to what the bylaw suggests we go for. And we want to just request that doesn't happen. It's a lot of extra people. And it's not owner occupied, it's an LLC, and that's fine, but our neighborhood's small to begin with. There's some new families there and they want to stay and build, but you know, this is really putting a lot of pressure on them to double think that, and it's changing our neighborhood. And going that step further is just, we don't feel it's fair to us.
Correct me if I'm wrong, sir. The existing rear building is a 3-bedroom single family now?
Correct.
And it's going to a 3-bedroom 2-family. So are we increasing? Are we?
I believe so, yeah. From a 1-family, maybe a couple with a few children, that's 2 cars. 2-family, we're adding at least 1 or 2 more cars.
So 3-bedrooms. I guess the zoning is for 3 cars.
Yeah.
2 bedrooms and a 1-bedroom, the zoning's for 3 cars.
Okay.
So,
you know, I guess I understand your concern. I think the board shares it. My experience or observation is that a 3-bedroom unit may have more people in it than a 2-bedroom and a 1-bedroom.
I have to agree.
You know, and so I think it's either a wash or possibly less of an impact than what's there now. If they were proposing to, you know, construct a couple of additional bedrooms, I'd look at this very differently. But the fact that we're keeping the same number of bedrooms but just dividing it up. 1-bedroom units tend to get single people. 2-bedroom units often get single people, or maybe a couple. 3-bedroom units, now you might have 5 or 6 people living there, which frankly, we need more 3-bedroom units in town, more for families. So, you know, there's an argument for that. But in terms of the impact here, which is, you know, this is a A1, is this A1 or A2?
A2.
A2. So 2 families are allowed, right? Yeah. So, but nonetheless, you know, we too don't want this to be, you know, a multi-family area, but I just think dividing the bedrooms up into a 2 and a 1 versus a 3 is either not going to have more of an impact or it might even have less. And the trade-off is if if you leave it as a 3, they don't need any permissions from us at all. They can just do it. So we're kind of using the fact that they're coming to us for permission to clean up the front of the property.
And those are from your comments.
Which were very helpful.
The changes that were made in the front was very, very helpful. Changes that were made in the front, putting the parking in the back.
That's no argument about that at all. They've done a great job.
I think that's all we asked for, clean it up, put it on drawings. Essentially, the last hearing, we were going to approve this. We just wanted it on paper so that.
I understand that. I understand that.
Yeah, so I think that this is a vast improvement over what was there. And honestly, I would take a 2-unit building in the back over a single and leave it the way it was.
Okay.
So I think they're going to spend a lot of money on it, and it's hopefully they'll maintain it. But not having 4 cars parked out front from that back unit is going to be a big difference.
Okay.
Oh, that is. Yeah, absolutely. If I could bring up one more thing.
Sure, go right ahead.
Just to bring it up, I'm curious, I'm not sure about it, but I know also A2 zone on section 7-7-3 is a multifamily dwelling that requires at least 87,000 square foot lot. I'm not sure that we're there with that. But
That's 3 units or more in one building.
And this is non-conforming, pre-existing non-conforming, so it's just not subject to that anyway.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon. Well, evening, I guess. My name is Brianna. This is Nick. We are the unfortunate residents of 19 Perry Ave right now. Moved in about 2 years ago, and I apologize we missed a lot of the meetings. I have some health conditions going on right now, and I have good days and bad days. So previously, that parking lot that exists on that side was grass. I now have a big parking lot abutting my bedroom window. Just wondering, since there's going to be a lot of greenery added in the front, can we have some arborvitae, some separation, some privacy here on the side? It would be great.
Well, there's a proposed stockade fence between your lot and the and 29.
Okay.
Is that a 6 foot fence?
Yeah.
Where would you want, if there's a fence put in, you want the arborvitae put on your property?
Sorry.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
With all due respect, a 6 foot fence, 8 foot fence, it ain't gonna do anything.
I'm sorry, what?
It's not gonna do anything. I'll still be able to see that clear as day. So I would love to have arborvitaes, because at least an arborvitae, they grow taller. And if I'm gonna stay at this property, I want to have privacy. I don't want to have an 8 foot fence there that's just going to be 8 feet for the next 10, 15, 20 years. I want to have something that's going to completely block my property off.
I don't know whether there's enough room to put arborvitaes as far as where the asphalt is, the existing asphalt. It'd have to be planted on your property.
If they come on my property, that's fine.
We're honestly open. There's no privacy right now in my bedroom. It's right there.
But
I do miss the landscape that was there. It's just a big parking lot now.
Well, I guess we have no objection to putting a stockade fence along the top of that concrete. There's a wall that runs along there that would extend the stockade fence up about 12 feet when you look at it. But I don't think anyone has a problem with putting arborvitaes on their property, if that's what they would want. Presently, there's a concrete bound that's in the middle of a wooded area right out here on the front. So there is some vegetation already on the Vassal property in that front portion. I'd have to review what it is on the back, but
they're proposing that we put it on their property anyway, instead of the fence. It just gives them a little bit more height there.
I don't think.
Are you okay with the fence and the arborvitaes?
Yeah, that'd be even better.
You'd be okay with that?
Well, I mean, is there room to put arborvitaes on 2933?
That's what I'm confused
It's
about.
right there.
Right on top
It's right
of it.
there, yeah.
It's right. I thought there was going to be landscaping along it.
Yeah, no, and that's okay there, but we have power right now, so.
Yeah.
It's gonna narrow your lot. These things are gonna go about 8 feet wide.
That's okay.
You talking green giant arborvitae's?
Yeah.
Yes.
50 by
Yes.
20 feet high.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm totally fine.
They grow tall.
Okay, let me,
So you want arborvitae's planted?
We got some space there between the fences.
This is literally our bedroom, it's right there. That's all.
Yeah, so so basically right where the service drop is in my house, right where the service drop going back. So basically where, like, past where that retaining wall is. It's all
do you know what they want? Is it doable?
Just, yeah.
Is it putting arborvitae's on your client's property? I mean, it looks like you got room to.
Well, there's kind of a wall in there, but I just drew them on here, which would be actually,
put them on.
They would become their arborvitae's in the future.
Yeah, if you're willing and they're willing, normally I don't like to put a condition that says do work on somebody else's property, but if that's what works, it's up. All right. Let me keep going. Anybody, other Cormiers here? Yes, sir. Let me call on Mr. Cormier.
Cormier, Portland Perry. It's more just to kind of comment on things. I think when you look at the picture, you can see the lot itself doesn't really fit in the neighborhood now with the giant parking lot that extends all the way from the back of the house to the woods. So to be honest, I take issue with the sentiment towards adding that at the last meeting. There's no other houses on the block that have taken out their backyard and put it in a parking lot. And so this is entirely inconsistent with the neighborhood. Given the grade of the lot, maybe 10 to 15 feet from the house to the back of the property, the only thing you see when you step out your back door is a big parking lot that is now in the backyard. So, I mean, I appreciate that there's some positive aspect to it, but it's more shifted the burden from people looking at the front of the property to people on the side of the property.
Okay.
So I wish to at least consider that maybe just for the next person at this point, since it's already built and in existence.
What would, I think, there isn't a fence there now, right? Or,
Spoke with him, and then at one point we kind of going to put 8-foot fence there, like a vinyl fence, and to give him more privacy, all the way to the end.
So, I mean, if we make that a condition that they have to put a fence all the way down to the end of the parking lot, does that help?
Yes, that helps.
All right.
For the future, I guess, more for like a standing thing. I just don't think this fits properties in Whitman to add parking lots where there's no parking lots in neighborhoods.
And again,
For the future.
and I appreciate, and I hope you understand what we're saying about this being a pre-existing situation where our hands are tied to some extent, and I can understand you saying, well, it's a choice between having the parking in the front or having it in the rear. For the reasons we've given, we think it's better overall to have it in the rear, but we certainly will put a condition that there be fencing on your side of the property. Anybody else have any? Yes, ma'am.
How many cars does the back parking lot now hold? How many cars are they going to hold back there?
I'm showing like 4 cars back there.
And the requirement is
what? The requirement is that might be 3.3.
So I think you're required to have 4. I mean, space for 4 cars, right? So.
Was there any lawn left over for recreation for the tenants?
Yeah, this is all lawn and through here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Anything from members of the board? So I think the conditions, if this were to be approved, would be a fence. I'm not going to specify what type, but a solid fence on the adjacent to 41 Perry Ave, extending to the rear to the end of the parking lot, so that that entire parking lot is shielded.
I think that has to be, no, I think the agreement with the neighbor is that it be an 8-foot stockade fence, and do you need a special permit for that, for 8 foot versus 6 foot?
Anything over 7 feet, you need a building permit.
Yeah, so if it's 8 foot, I think you have to grant it, is that correct?
I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, so we grant that.
I'm just saying you might want to grant that.
Up to 8 feet for that. The planting of arborvitaes on the property of 19 Perry Ave, in agreement with as agreed to with the owners. Replanting of the lawn in front of the properties that's been made available by the placement of the parking behind the building.
We marked the area that is to be covered.
Okay, as shown on the plan submitted to the board.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and I think that's it.
Type of arborvitaes and spacing, Carl?
Pardon me?
Type of arborvitaes and spacing?
Well, they can fill in pretty quick, but.
Yeah. Green Giant?
Huh?
Green Giant? The Green Giant, what do they call them? Green Giant arborvitaes?
Yeah, they're nice.
They're resistant?
Yeah.
So what do you?
The Green Giant, you space them 5.5 feet?
Can I also make a suggestion?
Yes.
Space them what? 5.5? You space them 5.5 feet? Okay.
If they're on a 4-foot berm and you get a 5-foot arborvitae, you're already at 9 feet.
No, they're going to be at ground level.
Oh, they're not going to be on a berm?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
If they put their berm in beforehand?
Well, I don't think.
No, that's not just get taller arborvitaes. You don't want to.
There's no room for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll blow over if it's a narrow berm, so.
Yeah. And they're not going to be like 1 foot arborvitaes from Walmart, so it takes 20 years to get some.
And I'm going to leave that.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave that to be settled. I think there's an understanding here of what needs to be done. So.
Do we need to approve the 2-family, 1-family conversion?
Yes. So, I mean, what they're seeking is a special permit from 245.4A7, which is to go from a single family to a 2-family. We added variances from sections 244.4 and 247.3A and C, which had to do with the fact that there were 2 buildings on the lot. We weren't sure quite, whether to formalize it with the variances, and then site plan approval, and then a determination under 240.11.9 that granting this relief is not significantly more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing conditions. So other than the
condition, a variance for the fence site too, John?
Okay, and a variance for the to allow up to 8 feet high fence. Is that how to state it? Okay. Anything further? All right, I would entertain a motion to that effect. And everything's in reference, and we'll reference the date of the revised plan in the decision.
I'll make a motion for that.
Okay, motion by Mr. Andrews, second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Kimball. Any further discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Okay, thank you everybody for your input. Thanks for the way it should work.
Everyone
So.
participated.
Yeah, yes, for your patience. And I'll keep a copy of the plan. All right, we have another couple of matters to take care of. Hopefully it won't take long. Mr. Smith, thank you.
We have another case.
It is the case.
We got a couple more things on the agenda. First, 250 Stetson Street, where we approved an in-law apartment for Dennis Smith. And I think it was a special permit for the in-law. It might have been a variance for the location of it, I think, if I recall right. But he wants to have as I understand it, a slightly smaller building. Building inspector wasn't sure whether that should, come back to us since there's a change in the plan. Mr. Smith, why don't you explain what you want to do, and then the board can decide whether we need to do anything at all.
The original plan was approved at 24 by 36. And I would like to reduce to 20 by 28 feet 6 inches. with a 6-foot deck on it.
You want to cut down.
Yes, I want to.
You're within the existing footprint.
But within the footprint that we approved for an entire structure, is that right?
I don't have the one.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
So you want to do what now?
So the original plan was approved at 24 feet wide by 36 feet deep. Okay, and after getting an estimate, basically.
Now the outlet's going to get smaller.
I decided to go to 20 feet wide.
Oh, you're not going back to work then?
I get to use that.
Okay.
That's the only change. I would, the original eastern wall was 21 feet. It's 20, so required 20-foot setback from where I'm at. And it was planned at 21 feet, and I will keep that. Everything else will get smaller.
Okay. Rob, just what your comments or what your
I think it's fine. I just wanted it to come back before the board because he was granted the special permit on those plans, and I just wanted the board's input. I think it's a minor change within the footprint.
Yeah, it's not a significant change.
Yeah, and my feeling is, this what we didn't even approve site plan. We didn't even have site plan approval as such. What we were really considering was, did it meet the requirements of the accessory apartment in terms of its appearance and so forth, and as long as it didn't affect the neighbor. I think we had to do a determination because this was a non-conforming lot. I'm not sure, but in any case,
that's right.
Yeah.
The end of the Darien Street.
Yeah, right. So, in any event, if it's going to be less than what it was, I don't see an issue. So I'm just going to suggest a vote of the board to confirm that this does not need any further consideration from the zoning board, and that'll be sufficient for the building inspector, so he has that record.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve that.
Sitting on the time to remember.
No, but
I was there.
I don't think it matters, actually. I don't think it has to be the same people. So, for purposes of this, everybody except Rob, because he probably wasn't here, right?
Yeah, right.
So it'll be the other 5 of us. So Mr. Andrews made a motion, second?
Yes.
You made a motion, right? Second by Mr. Cohen? Okay. So all in favor of the motion, this does not need further consideration by the board? Okay. You're all set. Thank you. Sorry it took so long. 5-0. All right. Other than that,
thanks, Carol.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, do you have any more questions from me?
No. And I'm going to, the only other thing we had on the agenda was reorganization. I'm going to suggest, can we just put that off to August 12th? And the Board of Selectmen accepted Jim Chandler's resignation. I suggested to the Board of Selectmen that they appoint Mr. Keeman to Mr. Chandler's position, since he's sort of our senior associate member. Nothing happened. I'll get back to, I made it to Mary Beth. I'll get back to her and find out if something more formal needs to be done. But so we might as well wait till we have 5 full members. She also informed me of somebody who might be interested, who expressed an interest in a couple of different town boards, somebody who's not on any town boards now. I looked at his resume, I said, he'd be fine. I haven't heard anything further about that, but that would be for, obviously the vacant associate position. So, all right.
Well, we got to get him approved.
Well, that's, as I said, I suggested that, but they didn't yet do anything. Okay, I'm sorry, we also have minutes to approve, so let's take care of those. We have minutes for case number 9, which That was the one where the applicant was 601 South Ave, where the applicant was. Motion by Mr. Cummins. There a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kimball. Let's see, who sat on that one? I don't even. Oh, there we are. Myself, Mr. Andrews, Mr. Blas, Mr. Curran, Mr. Kimball. All in favor of that motion to approve the minutes? 5-0. The minutes for 2933 Perry Ave, the first hearing on that. Same 5 people on that one.
Motion to approve.
Motion was that Mr. Blas and Mr. Kimball, right? Okay, all in favor? 5-0. And the general minutes for July 1st.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Mr. Blas. Second.
Second.
Mr. Curran, all in favor? 5-0. Okay, and we'll just carry over the reorganization to next time. So we have a meeting on August 12th with one new case for Forest Ave and the continuation of 199 South Ave. Okay, and nothing further beyond that. Okay.
That's 99 South Ave.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, is there a second to adjourn the meeting? Mr. Kimball, all in favor? The meeting is adjourned.